Em Rusciano and Michael Lucas.
I was like, piss off, mate. You're trying to kill me?
This is Emsolation.
So they all buy a boat together and they pick up hot pirates. This thing writes itself.
A lot of reality shows about vulvas. And you know what? I'm enjoying them.
That stuff can get really ratty. And you can look like you got a dead spider on your eyelid, okay?
I just go into the salt chomper, you could carve it.
You're in Emsolation.
Mate, you didn't have the mask on your vagina. I don't understand. Hello, welcome to Emsolation. It's me, Em Rusciano, your pal, your friend, your host. Special good morning to fellow Melburnians and Victorians. All of you, all of my Emsolators are very important, obviously. No matter where you listen to us from in the world, you are as equally important to me. But my Victorian lovelies need some special care and attention today. Guys, we need you to make us a cup of tea, tuck us in, put on our favourite Netflix show and stroke our hair very gently. That is how Victoria are feeling at the moment. I'm obviously a Victorian. I'm a proud Victorian. No matter what, I will always be proud to be a Victorian. And I think that pride in Victoria is what is pushing me through. That's not true. I don't even know what's going to push me through. So first week of much harsher restrictions. We're in a state of emergency. The curfew from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m, but to be honest, they're kind of my sleeping hours. So I don't remember the last time I left the house after 8 o'clock. It's not really. The curfew doesn't really affect me too much. The latest I'm out is when I'm driving home from work project, which I'm going to have a letter for now. I need a letter of travel. All of that stuff I find a bit anxiety inducing, but that's okay. Look, I'm glad it happened. I think it needed to happen a while ago. I feel like I felt like we were just kind of dribbling out, and just getting worse and worse. And this is just the effective cutting of the head of the snake. And it's awful. And today I'm not going to say to you, try and stay positive because I don't want you to hit me. I just want you to know that I understand how overwhelming it is and how big it is and how all-consuming and inconvenient. And I know a lot of you listening are kind of in charge of other people and their emotional well-being, and I advise you to just start with your own. The first thing I felt was exhaustion. I was like, oh, God, what am I going to do with the kids for another 6 weeks? And what am I going to do? And my husband is a cyclist and he can't go within more than 5 kilometres. I mean, for him, that's not even the warm-up, as he says. It often falls upon a lot of your shoulders to come up with ways to keep things going, to be the problem solver, to make the patches, to fill the holes. And I guess just remember to look after yourself. And also, if you're listening from somewhere else that isn't Victoria, check up on your mates, and stop posting photos of yourself having fun at the beach. No, I'm joking. Just don't be offended if I block you or mute you for a bit. But check up on your Victorian pals, especially the ones who live on their own. I did that yesterday. I've got a couple of friends who live on their own and I just sent some messages around, made a few phone calls. Because I often find it's, if you're in the service of others, if you're checking in and you're thinking about other people, then it takes away from the stuff that you're feeling, the bad stuff. So, yeah, we'll keep going. I'll keep making the pod. But special shout out, obviously, this morning and a big hug. And it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay. I mean, I can't guarantee you. When you don't know what's coming, you just have to kind of focus on what's now, I think. And that's the only wisdom I can really give you. And that's probably wisdom that Scott's given to me at some point in time. He's very stoic. I mean, one of the things I am grateful for is Scott underreacts to everything. I'm the overreactor. My husband's the underreactor. So yesterday I told him, and the only thing that was kind of bothering him was the cycling stuff, but he'll get over it because he's got the indoor trainer. Don't worry, guys. He's got an indoor thing. Don't even think he'll stop riding. He was like, oh, well, it has to happen. Like, it does. I'm going to go on panic craft. All right, well, that's enough for me. Michael Lucas is coming in Friday night. Look, my life is now family divided into two phases. The part of my life before I watched Beyonce's new visual album, Black is King, and now. Life-changing, guys. Michael and I were texting each other frantically during it. We were both so overwhelmed and overstimulated. And honestly, it's dropped at exactly the right time. She must have known what was coming. She must have known what was coming for us and thought, I'm going to give these bitches a 90-minute eye feast, spectacular, with 29 bajillion thousand costume changes and destination changes. I don't want to peak. I'm peaking. Take a deep breath, girl. So that's next with Michael, and we'll talk a bit more about the lockdowns and how he's responded and reacted. Thank you for being here with us. Look, this is keeping me going so on every level. And also a special hello to the patrons of the podcast, the Emsolators and the Emsa lovers. I see you. I appreciate you. Your support enables me to kind of pump things back into the podcast, make the merch, pay people. And if you want to become a patron, go to mrussiano.com. It's either $5 or $10 US a month. So it works out to about 80 cents a podcast. And the money makes you like a supreme member. It's the extra way to love Emsolation. And I love each and every one of you who have taken that next step in our relationship. Saucy. All right, let's bring Michael in. Play the music.
M. Russiano and Michael Lucas. This is Emsolation.
Okay, full disclaimer, he's feeling a bit flat as well. Remember, he sent me a text message yesterday. Hello, Michael Lucas.
Hello.
He sent me a message yesterday. Remember the time we dressed up and watched Hamilton at your house?
That was another lifetime.
Oh, my God. Oh, and we, like I always say this, we're aware other states listen, other people from all around the country, all around the world listen to this podcast, but we do need you to indulge us today just so we can sort through the many emotions we're having about, well, essentially it's an added 3 weeks of lockdown, but 6 of harsher measures.
That's right. I hadn't thought of it that way, that we had 3 more weeks locked in anyway. But yeah, no, the extension 42 days, 42 days.
So I was stress crafting already. So
I saw. I was very impressed / slightly terrified.
So I have this like kit of spray paint, and Scott knows, everyone knows, if things start getting spray painted, Mummy feels out of control. So if anything is laying around that could be spray painted, it will be. I don't know why spray painting furniture is where I go to. But there's a few things in my house that was just a beautiful kind of natural colour, bright yellow, green, pink. I really took to it hard yesterday. We did all of the perimeter done, all the rubbish sorted. Like I went into full anxiety mode where I need to
don't peak too soon though. You got to meet it out over the 6 weeks.
No, but you don't understand. We need a baseline.
Okay.
Because there's 5 of us in one house, so the house was already stuff everywhere from the last 3 weeks of lockdown. And if we don't do a massive cleanup halfway through, which is what we were, then it's just like we're talking episodes of Hoarders where you find a dead cat under 20-year-old newspapers. Like it's insane. So we had to do another baseline clean.
If only they could do a lockdown series of specials of Hoarders about the pandemic, because I'm betting whatever's going on in those houses just intensifies. That would be the most incredible. They should do Hoarders All-Stars in the lockdown.
Well, I'm having garbage issues because we're all home and have been home for so long.
Oh.
Our garbage is overflowing. Like I've had to go and siphon some off at Mum and Dad's. Scott and I have to walk around looking for neighbours' empty bins in the dead of night. Can't do that anymore because of curfew. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do our bin espionage now? Like, we can't. Like, we're going to have to do a special pickup or a tip trip or something, although we don't live within 5 Ks of a tip. And I want to point out, I live in semi-regional Victoria. Nothing is 5 Ks from my house. So I'm stuffed. I can go and shout in a paddock at the wind on the border of the 5K radius.
My mum rang me and got me to like figure out exactly
There's
what was
a website.
5Ks. Oh, right. Well,
Tell her to put it in.
I don't think
It's
she was
further
doing
than
it the
you
right
think.
way, though, because it's like, Mum, it's supposed to restrict your movement. Sitting there going, ooh, the Pines Shopping Centre. I would have thought that was further away. Great. I don't think that's the attitude, Mum.
Yeah, your mum is in with the radius. That's what I was kind of hoping that my dad, oh, no, that's good. Bunnings is still inside that radius. Like, fuck. Stay home, Dad. Yeah, we were doing that last night. There's a website where you go and you put your address in and then a big circle appears where you can and can't go. And my daughter was very closely looking at the lines to see if she could drive certain places to walk with people.
I did. I have to say Chella was pretty much the first person I thought of, because the only thing I really didn't expect, we need to talk about that fake list of, well, the leak that went out on Sunday night.
What do
Did
you
you
mean?
get it?
No.
Oh, half of Melbourne got it. I was on the brink of sending it to you, but I felt like this is fake. Someone was supposedly leaking from the cabinet meeting, like what the restrictions were going to be. It was written on notes. This was on Saturday night. And there were spelling mistakes in there. But the weird thing is, so I was kind of pretty dismissive going, oh, for Christ's sake, spelling mistakes in this. This is so not real. The Chaser did a spoof of it. The Chaser did a spoof where they did it all in just completely stupid grammar and craziness. But the weird thing was, and the thing that felt really fake to me was it said curfew from 8 p.m. And I felt like, oh, bullshit, this is some teenager sitting in the room that's made this up. And then pretty much everything came true.
So was it real or not?
True. Well, it was, it had the impression as though someone was trying to say this is the actual document. But it sort of read like, obviously it wasn't because there was spelling mistakes and it just was a bit shit. But maybe it was just someone that had heard all the details and tapped it down and then put it on notes and then sent it off. Like maybe it was a relative of someone who was in those meetings, because basically it got everything right. It said the 5K and it said the 8 p.m. And so, but for some reason I dismissed it as not being true. And so when the curfew came in, I was actually a little bit shocked, because that's even, I think even in New Zealand, like Jacinda, I don't know whether they could go for walks anytime they want, I think. I don't think there was that particularly, once it got to 8 p.m, you had to stay home. So it's a pretty harsh lockdown. And I did think of Chella straight away, thinking how much could her first year of adulthood be absolutely hammered to hell.
But it's so great for me. I mean, really. I'm looking for silver linings.
Yeah.
I was sitting there looking at both my teenage daughters. We were playing our favourite card game, Bullshit.
Yeah.
And it was Saturday night. We were playing Bullshit. We were also playing a game we have to sing into a kazoo. And Elio was there, and we were all sitting around the table, and I just thought, God, I'm really going to enjoy this, because it's the second my child is allowed out. And look, it could be another 3 years and it'll be 18, and the two of them will disappear into the sunset with a bottle of tequila.
Yeah.
Like, I just think she'll wave me off. Bye-bye, Mum.
It's bought time.
It has bought time. And also her and Elio are forging a really close relationship that might not have happened if she wasn't home. And I think about that all the time. Like, she's his second mother, and if she was out and about doing 18-year-old teenage girl things,
they would have been ships in the night, really.
Ships in the night.
Are you struggling? For me, one element, and this is the worst part of me that is feeling this, but the fact that it is just Victoria and not the other states does compound it, and just this. Because I've spent half my adult life between Sydney and Melbourne. And there is a Sydney-Melbourne thing. There just is. And Sydney-siders always say, oh, Melbourne cares about Sydney. Sydney doesn't care about Melbourne. But Sydney is always happy to pour shit on Melbourne. Put it that way. Oh, you live in Melbourne. I like to visit Melbourne sometimes. Like if I want to go shopping for a weekend, maybe a weekend sometimes. I mean, I couldn't do the winters, and I couldn't. I don't know how I couldn't live there. I couldn't live there, but I can visit there for a little bit of a shop. That's what I get from Sydney-siders. And I'm always, so because of that, I fire up and so defensive about Melbourne. I try and play this whole, level of Melbourne's just so cool you can't even properly understand it.
Yeah,
so I'm smiling. Yeah. You just wouldn't recognise culture if you fell over it.
No.
But now, there's no culture here now.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
You stay proud and true. I'd still rather be Victorian. I'd still rather be the big V than anywhere else. I'm more proud of being Victorian.
I know. I'm with you. I just had to feel the pang.
I understand. Like, I'm prouder of being Victorian than I am of Australian. Like, I used to enjoy saying when I was at national events for athletics, and if I wasn't in team track, where are you from? Like Victoria, and we were always like the glamour state. So don't even worry, guys. I'd still rather be us than anywhere else. But it is hard if you have family members and you're on Facebook or you're on Instagram and they're like in Perth at the beach. Or in Sydney at a restaurant, although Sydney are 2 weeks behind us, let's be honest. So I do understand, and anyone listening now from Melbourne would feel your pain and does feel the pain of, and also like people like Steve Price going, oh, it's disgraceful what Victorians are going through and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, we don't want you talking about us. Don't you feel sorry for us? We'll get through this. We'll be fine.
And also, the only thing that I'm thinking, I have to tell myself this on some ways. Obviously, we're doing it because the situation's out of control in Victoria, but every other state, with the possible exception of Sydney, is going pretty well at the moment. And we're kind of doing it for the whole nation, for Christ's sake. Normally, like other countries, like the kind of level of infections we're at now, even in Victoria, where places like the UK have got to only after their massive lockdowns. We're taking these harsh steps because we want to kill this fucker, and we want to do it so the whole rest of the country can be completely united, and we can hopefully try and eliminate it. Hopefully.
And I just want to say to people, this morning, the opposition leader, and I didn't even know he existed or who he was. He hasn't. I read the news ferociously. I'm on a news program, and yet if you had have asked me who the opposition leader was in Victoria, I would have drawn a blank.
They always have to put him on ABC News because I suppose they're under pressure to have all this balance, so it doesn't matter what happens. You just cut to him, and they give him 2 lines. They're kind of I think this is a disgraceful move by the government, and then that's enough of him, and he's gone.
Well, his name's Michael O'Brien, so there you go. And he this morning, I feel, has been super opportunistic and political and, come forward like the snivelling sidekick in any kind of villain movie and be like, yeah, I'd be really angry if I was a Victorian and the Labor government have let you down and I'll be here to help you rebuild after and we'll make sure no Victorians left behind and da-da-da. And it just feels like, shut up. Just wait. Wait until we're on the other side. And all of us have woken up this morning feeling angry, and human nature is to look to someone to place the blame on, and there's plenty of time for that. But at the moment, I don't want my opposition leader stating the fucking obvious or talking about how hard it is. I just want him going, yeah, we'll support Labor and whatever they need to do right now, and we'll chat after. It's like when your mum says to you, we'll talk about this later. That's what we need from the opposition government at the moment.
That's right.
You know what? We'll just get through this family dinner and we will talk about this later. That's what I need.
This is your Uncle Milton's birthday party. I don't want to be here either, but we just need to get through this so we can get home.
That's it. And the whole time your arm's being clutched on the bicep with very long fingernails digging in. Because my kids always know this, the quiet yell is way scarier than the loud yell. But I guess I've had lots and lots of messages from people feeling overwhelmed. And I guess what I want to say, and what I kind of said in the intro, is that people are saying, oh, stay positive, remain positive. You just shut up. What Michael and I wish to acknowledge is this is shit. This is hard. This is sludge. This is just getting through each day, and it's hard to be positive. And the thing that makes me feel least positive is when someone says to me, oh, stay positive. I'm like, oh, I'm going to punch you in the throat now. So I think it's important to allow yourself to acknowledge that, yeah, this is pretty fucking hard.
Yeah. And if that involves a lot of Cadbury family blocks of chocolate, as it did for me last night, then just you go with that.
Whatever it takes. I just think at the moment it's just about getting through it, and then we deal with the excess kilograms at the end. I mean, I've given up my diet. I was on a diet for the last 2 weeks.
I was vaguely thinking to myself I was going to go into some sort of keto phase. That's out the window.
Nah, I felt oddly relieved. One of the good things when Dan Andrews is like, oh, another 6 weeks, oh, well, diet's out. When it immediately had a piece of pizza. But it is hard, and it's okay to acknowledge that. And then, we just have to I just think wake up each day and go, all right, what am I going to achieve? One thing. That for me is, that's it. That's what I'm going to have to do to survive. But Jesus Christ, I get it.
Yeah. I actually can see the city of Melbourne from my window right now, sitting there so innocuous. It just looks like the other weird thing is it's the mildest winter in the whole wide world.
I know, thank God.
I have a flash. Thank God. There's part of me that thinks, oh, is this a global warming catastrophe happening? But at the moment, I'm just taking it because
I'm so grateful for the sun.
Oh.
Yeah, but have you seen the weather for this week?
Oh, is it going to be terrible?
Terrible. It's going to be proper winter this week. So
I'm sort of open to it though, because at least if it's proper winter, you don't think?
I need sunshine. I get seasonal depression, and when winter sets in, I feel a very heaviness on my heart. And when there's sunshine, I don't know, I just feel like something's possible.
Okay. Something's possible as long as it's within 5Ks and and it can technically be classed as exercise.
Oh God. Look, we'll continue to produce the podcast, obviously. And
oh Jesus, who knew? I thought there's going to be 6 weeks in the premise of this podcast and then drift on. Not that we hold ourselves rigorously to any sort of premise, but nonetheless, Jesus Christ.
Yes. But look, there is something that you can watch that can can get you through at least a week and you'll just be thinking about it and talking about it. Also, I should point out before we get to Beyonce, I had a lot of people angry that in our Q&A when we were discussing Ultimate Divas, that we didn't discuss Pink. And I don't know, for me, she doesn't. So if you haven't heard the Q&A session yet, we did one last week and we got asked about our Ultimate Diva and we weren't allowed to utter the word Madonna, which we failed at. But
Miserably.
Everyone's like, I got quite a few. What about Pink? What about Pink? I don't know. I kind of see her apart from the divas, don't you?
She does have a very different energy as a diva. It's like she's put herself in a really different lane.
But she is. I mean, when you think about it, she does these huge, spectacular shows. She's a whole thing. She's so popular here especially. But I don't know. When I think diva, Pink doesn't – maybe because she's got that kind of real every woman earthy quality. Like she feels like – and I've met her. She feels like she could be your mate. But, I don't know that – I'd feel okay about being friends with Beyonce. I think I'd just cry every time I was in her presence. Yeah. Whereas with Pink, I feel like I could have a glass of wine.
Oh, there's an absolute chasm between us and the likes of Beyonce and Madonna and Whitney. Like they would eat us alive.
Dead. Yeah.
I'd fully expect that we'd walk out of tears in that of any interaction with them. Whereas, Pink really does feel like, but I do think she is chronically underestimated though. I mean, her live shows are off the hook. Insane.
Amazing.
No one else does all that trapeze and flying around shit.
No, and the singing remains steadfast. I know. Friday night, I had been waiting frantically for Black is King to drop on Disney Plus because I had known that it was coming because I knew that she was making a visual album to accompany the Lion King release and I'd always thought it was coming out at the same time, but it did not. So I've been, watching the skies basically. And then it was announced Friday it was coming out and I sat the whole family down. We had a group viewing.
Scott included?
Yeah, Scott sat through at least 3/4 of it. He just walked out, I think, because he was so overwhelmed by the sumptuous feast that it was. So it's this 90-minute, for those of you who are unaware, like human retelling of The Lion King, like a contemporary retelling. And there's a human Simba and Beyonce's like his ethereal guide. And then they play kind of clips of the actual Lion King to string the music clips together. So this is her new album.
Not the Mufasa voices, you mean? Is that right?
No, but not just. But no, there's also the Timon and Pumbaa talking to him.
Oh yeah.
So there's little clips. I mean, the voices, not actual visuals. Yeah.
I don't know whether I was just so overwhelmed by the whole visual sumptuous of the connections to the Lion King felt a little bit tenuous to me.
Really? Oh no, I saw them.
I know there are people who were saying Timon and Pumbaa, but I was sort of imagining that she went to Disney sort of saying, can you give me $300 million? It's going to be all about the Lion King. They're like, really? And then they're watching it afterwards and some nervous executive's going, it's the Lion King. Yeah. She's gyrating in leopard skin with 80 dancers. But it is though.
Is she wearing the family? Did she slaughter the pack of lions and put the outfits on?
I just imagine her saying, we'll just put in a bit of Mufasa dialogue over that. That'll do. That's worth their money.
We were joking while we were both watching at the same time. We were joking about the pitch meetings. Like imagine... Because in our industry, because Beyonce is definitely in our industry, if you want money from people, you got to take a pitch deck and you got to like say, this is the theme, this is the mood board, this is the direction, here's the script, here's the dialogue, here's the songs, this is how much we need. And we were just imagine when she went in and said that because I don't even know, how do you describe this? It's a 90-minute costume, like the whole thing, and it's spanned across East Africa and England and the Grand Canyon, and like it's an international retelling, but mainly a love letter to Africa, I think.
Yeah,
would be
celebrity cameos galore. You just never know who's going to pop up. Could be, obviously Jay-Z is going to be there, and obviously Tina, her mother, is going to be there. But you're going to get Naomi Campbell and Lupita and Pharrell and
Kelly Rowland. There's a moment in
made me cry.
a song, Brown Skin Girl, where they're facing each other, Kelly and Beyonce, and you can tell it's a very candid moment, and they both smile at each other. We both cried, openly cried. But the whole, and we sat down, and so the girls and I obviously, and Elio didn't move either, and I was so proud. We put it on, and the moment you're in, there's this shimmering across the desert, and we're just gasping. There were so many pearl clutching moments, and with every film clip, it just built. So first she's just walking along the beach, you know, in this beautiful white dress. And then it just kept getting wilder and wilder. And oh my God. And then they do the Hakuna Matata kind of tribute, and it's called Mood Forever, which is my favourite. And she's got a leopard print Rolls Royce in a leopard print jumpsuit with a leopard print coat, and all her backing dancers are in leopard print suits. And I just said to my husband, I have to pause it. I feel very overstimulated.
I think it's worth pointing out that obviously she's done visual albums before. First Beyonce, the album Beyonce, and then Lemonade. But those ones which were also, you know, intense rushes of sensual visuals, but still by and large you'd get to a song and you'd sort of be in a particular environment for most of the song, and you know, it might be that Beyonce's in a warehouse with some dancers doing a particular routine. This one, like, there was no such thing as too much. Like, you'd go into an environment and just the level of costume changes and dance routine changes and location changes, it just absolutely pummels you in the most delightful and delirious way, non-stop, absolutely non-stop. Like, you cannot believe how many costume changes. I hope someone's tallied it up. It's got to be off the chart.
I was waiting for the Feverent fan breakdown and I probably could have done it myself, but I thought someone else will do it, and it still hasn't happened. But because sometimes she was in entire looks for one fucking shot.
Totally.
1 second sassy turnaround in front of Wind Machine, total red leather look, gone. Didn't see it again for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And this happened continuously. Entire beautiful set shots with 20 people, 1 second on, off. Never to be seen again. And there's one scene where she's wearing, like, I don't know, a 50-metre weft of hair as she stands atop a ladder in front of
That's right. The Rapunzel bit, yes.
And we all went, in my house. It was like an audible gasp.
Yeah.
It was just, and there was a lot of criticism. People were worried they called it the Wakandification of Africa, basically, the neatly packaging up Africa to sell to Western society. And I'm not an African person, so I can't comment, but from what I've read, I think the fact that she used local talent, she used more African people than not, amazing African designers, musicians, and because sometimes in the past Beyonce takes cultures and retells it through her style. And she's been, pinged for that. But this time she let other people tell the story and she fit in. I mean, she was very much in the front, obviously. But there are some songs where she didn't appear very often. So I think that's how she's got this right. It's not her version of African culture. It's actually amplifying African culture.
Totally. And it's also one of those things with, like, the first time when you watch it, you just have to sort of try and let it roll over you and take a deep breath. And you may need to pause sometimes. But then if you want to go back and do the deep dive, there will be articles written about the parts of African culture she's picked up on, like, the Pan-African flag, the red, black and green flag that she's got in there. I mean, I missed that on the first go, but there will be think pieces for months and months and months that break down all the references.
This is a 5-watch minimum for me. I mean, this is it's like when I go shopping. I do the initial sweep and just see if anything like a magpie shiny catches my eye. So I've done the initial watch. Then I got to do the second watch to actually watch it. Because I haven't actually watched it, you guys. I've just taken a shower in it. And then the third watch is to kind of go back and look at all the things I noticed in the first watch. And then while I'm watching on the third watch, there's going to be other things, but I can't take them in. I'm too emotional. Fourth watch comes in. Now I can just watch it through plain eyes, just on a neutral level. And then the fifth watch is just that final, I do love it. So this is a 5-watcher for me. And I'm quite frankly looking forward to it. I'm going to eke it out over lockdown.
Yeah.
But it was just, I can't remember being so thrilled. And I also was watching my daughters watch this. And this is how I used to feel like when it would be announced Madonna's new film clip was going to be on MTV or Smash Hits or Rage.
A Molly Meldrum half-hour special that night.
Yes, it was an event. And this was an event. And also, like, how does she top it? But also, I said that after Lemonade. I said that after Chella. And I can't believe she managed to top those two. How? I mean, this is art.
It's also just the joy of, like, for some reason, it took me a while before I clicked in to sort of figuring how to sort of set myself so that I could enjoy it properly. Because at the start I was like, oh my God, what's that? And then it was helpful to text you. Yeah. And then I also had to have a little bit more gin, and then boom, I was there with her. But it was also just there's something that was so kind of nourishing about the fact that it exists
Yes.
for beauty and celebration and empowerment, and that's it. Like, that is what you're watching it for. You're not, you don't have to, like, I mean, you can try and follow stories or anything like that if you want, but just let it roll over you, experience you. And also that strain of, like, I mean, we did cry in Brown Skin Girl.
Oh.
But just the simple thing of celebrating to this level blackness and in that particular example, like, you know, that song is pretty much, it's clearly specifically she's written a song that mothers or parents can sing their black daughters.
Of course.
And
it's representation.
Oh, so
it's
moving.
So important. Of course.
You know, the whole system's been set up forever so that people are made to feel like black and brown skin is kind of lesser, and to have a song like that that's so simple and so beautiful saying the complete opposite, and then to watch her sing it to Kelly and Kelly sort of get blissed out and have to turn her away because she's enjoying it and feels so much love.
And the fact that her daughter Blue was all the way through it doing little performances. Tina, her mum, was there all the way through it looking regal as fuck. Like, I mean, obviously where the hell was Solange? I'm very much speculating on this. Where was her sister?
And Michelle from Destiny's Child also.
Michelle was never going to make it. Let's be real. Like, Michelle wasn't an OG Destiny's Child. Matthew brought her in to replace the other two, got a little bit too big for their boots. So I think Michelle and B are like, obviously care about each other, but I don't think they speak every day like Kelly and B do. Like, that makes sense. Yeah. But I just, and then the very end, she dedicates it to her son, and there's footage of her holding him. And I mean, Rumi didn't make a lot of appearances, but I'm sure eventually, that's her daughter. Eventually there'll be something for Rumi. But just the whole thing, oh my God, 10 out of 10. And I don't know how she's going to top it, but I look forward to watching her. And all I have to say is, your move, Rihanna, your move. What are you going to do? What is anyone going to do? Because she's peerless. I don't understand how she's just gone to another level.
Did you see the shots of Adele?
Oh, yeah, wearing the cat suit. Of course. I've got an alert on my phone for Adele. With her curly hair and kneeling down, wearing the matching moon suit to what Beyonce had on. I love that. Was she a snake in that scene? Was she with all the dancers in that?
Look, I was seeing her as more of a leopard. I'm not sure. I stopped trying to decode things at a certain point.
I know, it's best. So, look, obviously Michael and I are very emotional about it and we loved it.
We do. You might have got that sense. I'll tell you what, it was a marked difference between Friday night and Sunday night, wasn't it? Friday night we were in the Beyonce sphere.
We were just in
out
heaven.
of our minds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now
Sunday night curfew.
we're back here. I know. But look, you and I are just going to keep digging stuff up for people to be involved in and watch. And I'm now into season 4 of Beverly Hills Housewives. So Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Marcella and I did a deep dive on all of their social medias last night because we're 10 years behind. So they've got their faces from 10 years ago. And if you go online now and look at their faces... So Chella was making me little grids to show then and now, and I really appreciated the theatre and her reveals, to be honest, because this is what we were doing.
Tell you what it is, this lockdown has really taught me the value of whenever you're watching anything on TV, find the people on Instagram and then just keep investigating. Like Aparna from Indian Matchmaking is on Instagram.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, it's a whole other dimension of the viewing experience that I feel like you've been doing it for a while. It's just got more time now.
I really enjoy it. But Marcella's way quicker than I am. Like the character will say their first opening monologue to piece on any show we're watching, and she'll have their Instagram up, IMDb, across 3 screens. She'll have found the person they're dating at the moment. So, like, it's just much better to have, if you have a Gen Z on hand, you just kind of shout the names to them and they just compute it for you way quicker than I can.
I was invaluable on MasterChef early on, and honestly, for me, I was looking at all the contestants going, gay or not? And then you just think, Instagram will settle. This is Brendan. Had no idea. And then,
come on.
I did, honestly. I just thought, I'm not sure. And then, like 5 shots down on Instagram, there we go.
I do need to say happy 45th wedding anniversary to my parents.
Oh, my Lord.
I know. 45 years married, Jenny and Vince, and it was so cute. On Saturday, like over the weekend, I got a phone call from Mum, and she said, I don't really want to go out. Can you just go and get your dad. I want to get him like the bag full of chocolates and this really great wine that he loves. Because my dad is a chocolate fiend. Like he's just this one weakness in life. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then 5 minutes later, I got a phone call from my dad. Oh, I'm not sure. I don't want to go to a shop and I'm at golf. And so can you maybe help me get something for your mother? So I'm like, yes, I'm keeping the secret from both of them. So the girls and I independently buy mum a gift from dad and dad a gift from mum. They've both rang me without realising. And then Saturday night, my dad turns up and he goes, and I gave him mum's present. And then we were going to drive around to their house while he was at our place. Chella was ready to go, espionage, to hand my mum over the gift. But then dad goes, oh, have you got my present from mum? I'm like, oh, come on.
No, ruin.
He
Ruin
goes,
the mystique.
Oh, and my dad can't keep a secret. I go, we lied to her all day. The girls and I have been sneaking around. And he goes, oh, yeah, I told her. I'm like, oh, fucking hell, Dad.
Em is a AAA plus gift purchaser.
Oh, yeah.
She really is.
Oh, you should have seen me. Mate, I thought about it so much. So Dad gave Mum these beautiful stained glass raindrops that you hang from fishing wire because 45 years, I think, is emerald or sapphire, one of the two.
I see,
and the glass were green and blue. And so either one, emerald or sapphire. And so I thought that through. And then she got a really beautiful soft scarf because my mum is a sucker for scarves because she's obviously of a certain age. And when you get in your 60s, for some reason, you need a plethora of scarves. So she got that. And I was very proud of my gifts. And also I love the secret element. And they blew it out of the water. God.
Your gift-giving approach is very Beyonce. It's excess meets detail meets purpose.
I love giving presents. Thank you. Excess meets detail meets purpose. It is. It's bloody Joel Creasy's 30th in a week and a half.
Oh, God.
And I don't know what – I mean,
here's a challenge actually because, I mean, what do you – like, you know, he's pretty well set up.
Oh, mate, what do you buy the person who has everything and buys everything for himself? I mean, honestly, I don't know. And I think – I mean, all I can do is give him like a song because he loves – singing and he loves my singing, thank God. And so all I can think of is maybe I need to I don't know, film an elaborate visual album for him.
I'm sure he'd appreciate that.
Do you know what I was thinking before you go? For the first time in about 3 years, I missed my breakfast radio job because 100% I would have rolled into the meeting on Monday morning and gone, guys, I've got an idea for our next stunt. I'm going to make a visual album. I would have 100% used my breakfast radio job to create this whole campaign around a stupid, an over the top. We would have got listeners on board to pick the themes, the costumes. We would have had we would have got Tourism Victoria on board to go to amazing spots in Victoria. You know, it would be this whole spectacular that the station would help me build. And that's
the executives might be a little confused. Why have we shut down Swanston Street so that 120 drag queens can be on roller skates? What is happening? And they're like, it's a radio stunt. It's a radio stunt.
It's a radio stunt, yeah. Can we just ring the zoo? Can we hire the zoo? Is the zoo something I can hire? Yeah,
she will need both the gorillas and then also the butterfly enclosure. Preferably at the same time.
And do we know if the leopards get offended if she's in leopard print? Are they likely to try and hump her or kill her? I had this whole vision. I was laughing to myself thinking I can already see how I would pitch this and how we would get across the line and there'll be theme songs and we'd write the songs. It would take it would take a whole rating cycle. It would be it would be amazing. So that's what I was thinking because I'm like, how could I get a visual album up? And then I thought, fuck, if I was still on breakfast radio, this would be a thing. We'd be in action. It would be done.
I think that you and the girls could do your own domestic visual album in the next 6 weeks. I want it to happen.
Oh, God.
You've got enough. Don't pretend you don't have enough outfit changes for that time. You probably got more outfit changes than Beyonce had in that entire thing.
I have a lot of outfits, but I don't have the energy. That's the sad thing. I've lost my my spark. I've just got enough energy for crafting at the moment. That's it. if it's just a paintbrush or a yarn ball, that's fine. But I don't know. I've lost my mojo for full costume changes. I'm sure it'll come back, just in waves, you know. I've got to go. I've got to go film something today in a COVID-safe environment. I'm feeling very scared about that. I've got my letter of travel. I have to show the police if I get pulled over. This is hectic, Michael.
It's hectic.
Letter of travel. God.
I know. Right. What a time. Anyway,
what a time.
Good luck.
All right, everyone.
Stay
Thank
safe.
you. You too. Bye.
This is Emsolation.
Well, that's it. I've had to have a cold shower after that chat. Look, I need things to get excited by. I think that's what I miss most is I don't have something to look forward to, the big things on the horizon, the tour, the shows, I don't know, leaving the house past a certain time. Although, as discussed, 8 o'clock's all right. I mean, why does anyone want to leave the house at 8 o'clock anyway? Thank you very much, obviously, for listening. I appreciate it. We'll be back again on Thursday. Don't forget, we did have a Q&A bonus app come out last Friday. If you haven't heard it, Michael and I answer your questions. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. Just be gentle. Everything's going to upset you this week if you're a Victorian. If you're not, stuff you. Just joking. A little bit. All right. Bye, guys.